So what I'd like to do next is just show you how to send a very simple CMYK file to your printer. This is just sort of a test print to kind of go through the process of how to set up your job, how to import a file, how to actually send it to your device. Now clearly in the design side of Flexi we see a square here, and this square is 36 inches by 24 inches, much bigger than the media bed size of the printer. And we want to make this represent the bed size because that way we can line things up and accurately print to them when we create jigs, for instance, where we're doing golf balls or luggage tags or iPhone covers or whatever. And jigs are an entirely different discussion. Right now, we're just going to assume that you're printing on a big piece of cardstock, let's say. In any case, how do we make this the size of the printer? Well, the best thing to do is go to Production Manager. And in Production Manager, click on the printer name, go to Setup, and then go to Default Job Properties. And since we're using the new interface, like I said, we've changed this to the 426. It tells me the width, the height, and the margins of the tabletop that we're printing to. So this is the whole size of the tabletop. These are the margins of the tabletop. Write those numbers down. Once you do that, go back to your Flexi. And using Design Central, we're going to change this. So let's make it 19.016 by 12.953. Okay, so that's the size of the actual media bed, right? And then there were margins. So I'm going to click on the second tab here and put in those margins, 0.197 for each one. There you go, all the way around. Now, what a lot of folks like to do is once they set this up like this, the 00 of that particular media bed is down here on the bottom right. So what they'll do is they'll take this icon right here. It's a little L-shaped arrow on the edge. Just click and hold the mouse button down and drag that cursor all the way down to the bottom right-hand side here. Now we want to be careful. We want to make it exact, just like you're seeing here. And you'll see that the lines will disappear, right? So that's exactly now 0 and 0. Bottom corner right here is 0, 0. And that's the 0, 0 on your table. So at that point then, once we have this set up, what a lot of folks do is they'll actually save this and use this as a default template. That's one good way to do it if you want to do that. You can also go to your Design Central here and just say Save as Default, and that will actually open up in this size. But you just want to make sure you have the margins and the 0, 0 set properly. Okay, so at that point, since we have what represents our print table here, let's import a file. So I'm going to import a simple file. I have tons of them. I collect a whole bunch of files. I teach a lot of classes on Flexi, and Muto sponsors a lot of those classes. So you can take a class if you want all the details here. But in any case, I'm just going to print this simple flag here. So I'm going to import that. You can see it's quite large, so we're going to shrink that down a bit. Okay, let's just shrink it down like that. Now what we're going to assume is that when you get ready to print this, you've got media that covers the entire table, okay, or that's large enough to at least cover this part of the table down here. And we want to make sure that's right exactly on the margins like that. So how do we do that? Well, the easiest way is to use these alignment tools up here. Now, you may not see alignment tools. You might have something where there's nothing up there. The way you get those is right-click on any icon. It doesn't make any difference which one, and choose Align, and then just drag those and set them up here like this. And that way they'll be on there every time you start your program. What's nice is if I say Align to the right side, it goes right to the margin. And then Align to the bottom goes right to the bottom down there. So now I know it's exactly in my printable area of the table. All right, now once we have that done, we're going to click this icon up here at the top near text. It's called the Rip and Print menu. And basically it's going to transfer this information to a special window that's basically represents the table that you're printing on. So what you're seeing on the right-hand side where the flag is, that's the table, and see the margins. We got it exactly right, okay? About the only thing you're going to need to change here, maybe, is the third tab. And this is the profiles that we loaded back in. So you can choose how this is to be printed. I'm going to print on white media using this particular resolution and this quality. And for more information on that, you can consult your manuals and some other teachings. But in any case, we choose the profile that we want to use. Okay. If you see something like this, where you get a little indication of a caution sign here, that means that something is not selected correctly. Best way to fix that, go back to your output profile and pick it again, and it will switch everything back. Very important that these are correct. Okay. Now we also have driver options. I'm going to click on driver options down here, and these are actually options that are set to make the printer do things. Okay. Like for instance, if you just wanted to do a short cleaning of your print head, you could just click there, right? If you wanted to do a long cleaning, these are things that will help you with the maintenance of the machine. Maybe what you want to do is print a nozzle check, and just click print, and it'll print a nozzle check for you. So this is where you access those things from the software if you actually want to print those things. Another thing you might want to do is in the set driver options, you click on that. And again, this is now all the driver options for this particular print we're about to print. So in other words, the media vacuum is set on high. We're going to do 8 pass. We've set the carriage speed to 320 centimeters per second. This is you don't need to change these right now. I'm just showing you where they are primarily, just so you kind of know where they are. So we'll cancel all those. And all we need to do is actually print. But before we do that, go to the first tab and put the send mode on hold. See, if I click send now, it'll just send it, rip it, and start printing. Let's put it on hold because it's a good practice to send the file on hold. And when I click send, it's actually transferring this now to the production manager, but putting it on hold so you can check it one more time. Let's click done. We'll go to the production manager, and there's my job on hold. So it kind of lets me choose it, kind of make sure everything is right. At this point, if I needed to, and you don't need to in this example, but if you did, you could double click on the name of the file, and then in a few seconds it'll open up, and you'll see the printhead bed, you'll see options for changing things and so forth. All those options are discussed in detail in other online training. But in this case, we're just printing CMYK, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, you have a couple of options here. If you hit send, it will automatically rip the file, put it in this queue right here in the middle, and then take it to the send queue immediately. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the job, drag it, and drop it into the rip queue. So it's going to rip the file and then put the file on hold in the rip queue. So nothing's going to happen on the printer at this point. It's just ripping. What does that mean? It's separating the colors. It's dividing this image into cyan, magenta, yellow, and black so that it knows what combinations to make red, blue, gray, and then where to print them and how much ink to use and so forth and so on. That's what ripping does. At this point now, once I go check my machine and everything is ready to print, I can hit the send button and it will transfer it to the send queue, or I can just drag it and drop it in the send queue, either way. And this is actually going to start the print. Once it starts printing, we should actually see the file printed as you saw back on the monitor in Flexi. That's the overall process of printing a very simple test print. I highly recommend that you kind of get used to this process. The big thing there is a reminder, make sure that you set up your media correctly, because we want to make sure we don't put it down here because it won't print, it'll cut it off. And believe me, if I go up here, it's going to print up in the upper section. If I go in the middle, it'll print in the middle. We'll talk about that because that's the way that you're going to be able to create a jig and put something exactly in a location. Has to be done in a Flexi product, and there are some videos that we can share with you if you need to make jigs also. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy your machine.